friends. How are you doing? This is your friendly neighborhood podcaster, Rafa Sparza. I'm coming to you on a beautiful, Tuesday afternoon. It's 6:40 or 6:04 on Best Coast time. We are here to talk about the Elimination Chamber, some other topics that need to have some discussions. But I am joined today by my good friend, Mike Stallings. Mike, how are you doing today?
I'm well, sir. How are you?
Mike, you don't sound a day over 39.
Thank you. I appreciate that because I'm 2 years over 39, and I'll take that as adoration and that you care, even though you were shitty to me yesterday online.
Nope.
Can we just get this something straight?
What's that?
Real quick. This is non sequitur. You love Brendan Schaub.
Do not.
You do.
Do not.
If anybody else out there that listens to Verbal Tap, Kevin can vouch maybe for me. Raph has this love, hate, love relationship with Brendan Schaub and feels that he should be the new Batman. I've actually watched a Fighter and the Kid where he fucking talks about it, so I think it's in the works.
How would I even know that exists until you bring it to me? Because when you mentioned him as being Batman, I said, why would you take Batman, something I truly love, and mention his name and sully it around with somebody who doesn't deserve to be in the same sentence? Like, Brandon Schaub wants to try and maybe be Bruce Wayne, but you know what happens? He would give it away. He'd be the first person to tell you. Wayne. No, he'd be the first person to tell you, hey, you guys know I'm Batman. And people would be like, dude, shut the fuck up. No one cares. You get your ass kicked all the time.
Anyway. Well, you're just mean to me. It had nothing to do with my birthday.
No, it did. It did. You put that up first, and I was in process of writing like a nice, hey, everybody, I'd like to give a shout out to my co-host from Heel Section, and then I read this, and I go, what filth is this nonsense? Get the fuck out of here.
Have a terrible birthday. How do you expect me to sound right now?
Well, because I wanted you to have a bad birthday after you put that up there.
Garbage.
It doesn't inspire me to say nice things to you. Like, oh, by the way, thanks for continuing a joke that I think is stupid.
Downey's the only one that gets a happy birthday to the ground me, okay?
Hey, by the way, I still love that. No matter how many times I say it, I love that.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
He really did that. So can we get back to sequiturs?
Yeah, that's exactly what they call them. I want to make sure that you understand that if you make the option of sharing a Schaub on my birthday or your birthday, or you know what, any day that ends in day, I have the full right to shit on it and to make you feel bad because I don't invite that negativity in my life.
You've got me feeling emotion.
Exactly. Thank you, Mariah Carey.
Deeper than I've ever been. You look at how worked up you get about your boyfriend.
It's not somebody who I care about. I literally do my best to go away from him so that he's not anywhere remotely near where I need to be.
This is where you tell me how much you like Callan better.
I do like Callan. Callan's a fucking legitimately funny person. And I sit and I think to myself, Callan, I don't know what kind of mission from God you're on, but power to you, my friend. You are trying so hard. And you know what? They have a successful thing. I'm not going to shit on them because they have a successful thing. That's their thing. So kudos to them, dude.
This is the best thing you could have ever got me for my birthday. Is this rant right now?
This is not a birthday special. I do this all the time.
Fully unexpected Cena right now. It's so... Oh,
wow. That's really funny. Anyway...
Okay.
Here's what I want to discuss. I'm going to put this up. I'm going to send you a link to go ahead and put on your soch, my soch, everybody's soch. But let me do some talking as we transition to discussing the matter at hand, which is the Elimination Chamber, which was notable for the very first time that they were going to have the female tag team belts given out for the 12 women who were in the Elimination Chamber, and that's why they started it on the show instead of closing it, because Vince was like, ooh, women, no. So
do you think, oh wow, I hit the...
No, I hear myself now, so that means you're about to share it, which is good. The beauty of live television.
Okay, so the technical side of it was, I guess, the scuttlebutt that he was scared that the win wouldn't get the reaction that it deserved.
Yes.
And that's why they went with the audible from the night before. Kudos to Vince for being a little sentimental and kind of going with they wanted to put Kofi over, which we'll get to, but they figured that would garner the better reaction for the closeout. So I don't know if they necessarily wanted to have that go on first, but considering they gave him almost an hour, I was impressed with it. What'd you I thought it was good.
Yeah, I actually, so there's this weird thing that happens in these long, really drawn out matches when you have a gimmick match, whether it's, Royal Rumble or Elimination Chamber, where at a certain point you go, this has been going on a while. But when we do get to the finishes always feel pretty satisfactory. Like, I thought the finish to the Women's Elimination Chamber felt really good. So I at least can appreciate the build. It's just always weird when you see a large human being go through what is consistently described as bulletproof plexiglass. And you're always like, why would you need to remind us it's bulletproof? Like, it doesn't make any bearings on anything.
It's not Nia-proof. And I love how she fell into perfect position to take a nap immediately. Like, full, like Undertaker-style crossed arms.
I mean, that's how I'm trying to live my life, so I'm not lying on that. If I can take a bump and just, sleep, that I think is very helpful to me. It's a multitasking.
That was my takeaway from it at all. Like, we kind of already knew what the finish was going to be, but like the work was kind of something new. And what I was tripping on was like how underrated Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose really are, because they're like mainstays. I'm like, these are like we're used to like the divas and stuff being, the girls, but now we were used to Sasha and the Four Horsewomen being the workers, but now you got this like undercard of workhorses that I don't think get enough credit in that. You gave them 50 minutes to do some. Sonya Deville was doing some crazy shit I've never seen before, and I mean, you would never put 2 and 2 with that. But yeah, I thought it was well done. I mean, I was into it. I thought it was fun.
Absolutely, and so it was nice to have that start off the show. It actually proved to be a nicer opening than I thought it would be. But my question to you though was, did they make the right call for the ending, though?
As far as the ending of the whole show, no, just
for that match.
Of course, I thought there was 3 ways it could go. The way it went, they could have put the belt on. For 2 seconds, I thought that they might do it with what's their new Fire and Desire.
Oh wow. Okay.
I thought they might give it a Sonya Deville, Mandy Rose, which I would have welcomed, like, because that's just something new. You weren't expecting it, and then that also gives Sasha and Bayley a chance to get the big win at Mania, because that's what it's kind of the culmination is always about. Or the Iconics, because they're such horseshit. It was so. Yeah. I fucking love them. That little pose, Billy Kay so over the top. Peyton Royce's new hairdo. Oh my God! Don't tell Summer. I think I really fell in love.
Don't forget though, there's something great about watching that, because I've been enjoying the Dinner for Threes, and I've enjoyed the fact that 2 things. One, at some point, I always feel like Jerry Seinfeld's gonna walk in and be like, "What's the deal with stealing my bit?" And the second thing I always think of is when you see like Edge and Christian talking about their comedy that they added to it, I go, it's kind of just that, right? Like, it's just kind of that absurd comedy aspect that you go, yeah, I'm okay with this.
But there's always room for that. Like, isn't that part of it? Isn't that on every show? Isn't that what makes fucking AEW kind of the thing, that whole Joey Ryan thing? Yeah. Like, you have to have comic relief to make you, to bring you back down to earth. Be like, oh shit, yeah, it's wrestling.
Well, especially after 60 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, what were you gonna do? I don't know. You're fucked either way with the follow. Like, you have to have something as raw and hardcore as Kofi going another half hour, 35 minutes after he already did that, and this is a 2-day buzz. I mean, you're not going to catch that in a bottle ever, and they're writing it, so kudos for them. So they had to juggle that tough. So what are you going to follow it with? fucking Drew and them again. Like, you know, I mean, at least the Uso thing had a story, had a good like end to the story, especially after we all know that the motherfucker went to jail 2 days before and he still got a title. What are we doing, WWE? Like, what?
Here's some.
It's
good
okay.
News. Here's some good news, though. I think the idea was to divert all the attention from that and go straight somewhere else, because when you get the fact where you get you get an ending where Miz is basically mouthing the words, "I'm so sorry." You just say to yourself, are they taking my brain away from that thing we're supposed to be talking about?
Yes, and then too, like low-key, like what I was trying to bring up before, it's the most Black History Month thing they can do too. Like they get a free pass. Kofi's getting it. It's the only thing Kofi didn't get that I thought should have happened. Not to fast forward, is could have they given him the belt for a day and then taken it off on? Okay, here's my scenario. Kofi, really quickly, Kofi goes over at the Elimination Chamber. They get a huge celebration. SmackDown, they have a rematch. Daniel Bryan's bitching and moaning. New Day sticking up to him and Rowan. And blah, blah, blah. New Day comes down and Rowan's ringside. And good old Luke Harper comes down and costs Kofi the match. And Daniel Bryan wins the belt back on Tuesday. Like just a little 2-day rub. Would that killed the buzz that we have and been anticlimactic for Kofi to win at WrestleMania is my question to you.
Very possible. But the other thing to consider is this. Didn't Rey Mysterio have it for like a day? So, like, are we just giving our minorities, like, a day's championship? Yeah. Like, it really does make you feel like you're a Make-A-Wish kid where you're just like, well, I mean, it's a day. What are you going to lose?
Okay, but they're not going to yell out loud because it's Black History Month. I mean, only a small percentage are going to put 2 and 2 together.
Actually, that's a really good chant. Let's see if we can get that one over, and let's see how that goes. You know, here's the thing. So let's jump straight to that, because that was really the other significant part of the show, which is you're looking at it and you say, this feels overdue, but how are they making this so effective? Like, is it the fact that they're using the commentary? Is it the fact that they actually put up a website that's like, well, shouldn't he have the title now? Which, by the way, is really funny. When the people who are creating the storylines have a large multimedia conglomerate that's their equivalent of kayfabe Fox News, it's just like, shouldn't he get it? It's like, well, can't you fix that?
That's a good point. I don't know if I've ever really thought about that.
But it's like, don't persuade me. Persuade yourselves. It's your job to do it.
Seriously, Loki, after seeing what I saw today, I think they just went out of their way to hire some, like, smart-ass millennial, like, good meme makers.
Yeah. That
were going to, like, soup up the website because they had a President's Day post where the presidents were dressed up like the wrestlers. And my favorite one was Bill Clinton as Ric Flair. Like, this is, that's so apropos. Like, who's thinking? Who's the joke's there?
And you know what? I mean? I'll tell you this: I help people with their social media channels, and it is an uphill battle because I work with people who are like, "Hey, I don't know anything about social media," and you go, "Okay, well, here's my suggestions," and they go, "Oh, I don't want to do that," and you go, so what do you want to do? And they look at you like, I don't want to do that. And then you just go, okay, well, let's come up with something to do. And then they want to do basically the same old storyline, same old finish. And you look at them and you go, and see, that's why the fans turn on you. Everything is wrestling, kids. So I think that's why.
Sounds like talking about that.
I'm sorry, I missed what you said. What'd you say there, Mike?
That was I mean, that wasn't.
Well, okay. So let's try and corral this just a little bit. So why is it working, though? I guess is my question to you. And the peers, I think,
have a natural build to it.
Okay.
11 years Kofi's been doing this.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he's won title after title. And even without the titles, it seems that they're doing they're the most effective entertainers. And what makes more sense out of it? I think Biggie makes more sense of a world champion than Kofi does, but you have the story. You have the 11 years. We don't live in the kayfabe world anymore to where it's just like he's just some guy. We follow their careers. Like, they've given us a backstage look to who these guys really are, especially with fucking Up, Down, Down.
Yeah.
It's you get vested in these guys, and to know that this dude's been grinding for fucking 11 years. And I think, and kudos to Daniel Bryan, you know what I mean? I think not enough said for him knowing what position he's in to put somebody over like he was put over. And I think that might be a combination of what's like really going on, regardless of what Vince wants to do. I mean, they're all tweets have been going out left and right, so somebody's in his ear regardless. So I guess you just got to write it sometimes. I don't know. I think it's just kind of like the perfect storm, to tell you the truth.
I'm so happy to see, like, that's how you know Daniel Bryan is going overtime on trying to put him over when he's coming out, and there's no real reason he needs to do a promo to walk out, but there we have it. And it's heat. It's bringing attention to him, and then all of a sudden, you look at those spots that they were doing towards the end of that match. I mean, there are so many great moments in that Elimination Chamber match for him.
It's not even a near fall situation either. Mm-hmm. It's almost like you're just waiting on the build of it. Like, as a fan, as watching it first, you almost knew with WrestleMania coming up. I didn't think Kofi was going to go over. I wanted him to, but just to see spot after spot and the thought in it and how they can draw it out, it gives you faith in it again. I didn't know I wanted Daniel Bryan and Kofi Kingston at WrestleMania.
Nobody did, and that's the weirdest part. We're just all sitting here because you realize around this time of the year they just get a dartboard out. They just go, yeah, that looks good. I don't know about this guy. Shane versus The Undertaker? That's a thing.
Well, let me ask you something. So, I mean, that was supposed to be Mustafa Ali's spot. So, if Mustafa Ali is even in the storyline, I don't know if it transfers just because of the tenure that Kofi's holding, and that we've already been. Yeah, you know, we love the New Day. You know what I mean? As much as we like Mustafa Ali, this up and comer, and this is kind of the future, which was completely blown to shit with the call-ups on Raw yesterday, which was just out of left field. I think Vince is scared of AEW all of a sudden, but I don't know if Mustafa Ali gets the same reaction and rub towards a WrestleMania push if he's in the spot.
I think it'd just be filler. I think he's just the odd man who goes out real quick, but he gets a moment to shine. Whereas on this one, it looks like they rewrite the whole thing from top to bottom, and they just go, oh yeah, let's ride this. And you do have to credit them for hearing the crowd, because a lot of the times they've been known to ignore that or say like, not now, we're gonna do that later. Shh, don't worry. It's like when your parents are about to get you a gift, and they're like, you keep asking for it, and they're like, oh my god, shut up, we're gonna give it to you on Christmas, just shut up and stop asking us.
Well, oh shit, I completely forgot my thought. Now I'm thinking about presents.
Well, yeah, I think it's natural.
Yeah, now I'm thinking about the Power Glove. my old Star Wars.
100%. I'll be very clear. I don't know that there's any photo of me that's happier than the one of me holding my Nintendo system, the original OG Nintendo system, because I'm holding it. I didn't think I was gonna get it, and then I think that was when my childhood died. I think you could probably pinpoint it there, because then I just grew up. I was like, I have a Nintendo. That's all I need. I'm an adult now.
Did you have the robot that came with it?
No, and that was another sort of, like I said, I became an adult very quick, so it was very hardened and cold. But I made the most out of the gun, the Nintendo gun, and then one of my friends had the Power Glove, and I remember specifically going over to his house just to use the Power Glove, and then being like, all right, I'm done here, bye.
How much, how effective was the wizard as a marketing tool for the Power Glove. I want to
okay.
know. I want to hear numbers of the increase in sales of the Power Glove because of the Wizard starring Fred Savage. Which let me know where the warp zones were in Mario 3 before it even came out.
Yeah,
So
that
there.
was my issue. Was I looked at it and I said, "Did you just tell me how to beat your game in 7 minutes? Wouldn't that make you not buy it?" Oh, I've already got it in my hand. Well, that was fast.
How the
So,
fuck? How the fuck else are you gonna find out unless you subscribe to Nintendo
so
Power?
here's the other weird part of that movie, which is, I mean, there's a lot that's weird. Buddy travel action pick with Fred Savage and his brother, who is a little special needs. And this kid is definitely doing his best to act. He really is. He's giving it everything he's got. But there's a line read toward the end of the movie where he remembers that his parents are divorced. And the way he recalls it is he sees a dinosaur out on a pass on California, and he starts yelling out, "California!" And he's like trying to bust open the door. And he just keeps yelling, "California!" And I go, that's the saddest way to ever communicate divorce I think I've ever seen in film. And yet it's also hysterical. So sometimes when I'm in a long ride with people who I know are educated, I just look at them, and when I like say I have to use the restroom, I don't say, "Hey guys, I need to pull over to use the restroom." I'm like, "California!" So that's
I
what we're doing.
To be fair, two things. To be fair, first of all, that I think that's the dinosaur that doubles in Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Correct.
And second, to be fair, I think that was right around the time where Corky, what was the show on ABC?
That Life Goes On, yes.
And the McDonald's commercial where that was like a thing. So I think they were just kind
of... they were riding a wave. I get it. And, you know, here's the thing. Noble efforts on their parts to try and tell a story. And it's a hard role to do. But there's not much I can do when you just hear this is the apex of the movie. We just had a very, very big showdown for video games. Which, by the way, there was a Six Flags day where they played arcade games. And this is at the time when I was unbeatable at any form of video games. And for a slight second, my sister looks at me as I'm just wasting everybody as they have these Nintendos to play. And she gets that one look at me, and I go, "Are you trying to live out the Wizard with me right now?" And she's like, "Shut up, you keep winning us free shit, so just keep playing." I must have racked up about 15 water bottles that day.
I hate to go over the top of you. Universal Studios had kind of had the same thing.
Yeah.
And they had a timer, and you had to get 20 coins or 25 coins on Mario as fast as you could. Complete the first lap of Rad Racer, and then you played Tetris, and you had to get as many points as you could playing Tetris. And it was at Universal Studios, and you had to get a certain number of points, and if you got X amount of points, you had to come back the next day. I was 12. It devastated me. I got the coins. I ran through. I knew what to do. I didn't do the pipe, the whole nine. Got to Tetris. I was 2 squares on Tetris from putting the line down, and the timer went off. I would have gotten into Tetris, and I didn't think about it then because I was so crushed, but my dad was overjoyed because he didn't have to fucking get a hotel.
Wow.
To go to, I guess that was the gimmick, right? Hey, have your kid win some stupid Nintendo tournament based off some Fred Savage movie, and you guys have to come back the next day, buy another ticket, fucking whole nine.
What about this, though? What about the fact that you can now, I guess in retrospect, go up to your dad and be like, "You know why I didn't win? Because you didn't believe in me. You know how I know you didn't believe in me? Because you didn't actually get a hotel to keep us there an extra night. If you really believed in me, you would have already gotten the hotel. But instead, you just thought, well, let's see if the kid wins this video game contest. Nope. Oh, well, too bad. Let's go home. Save it some money."
Driving away, California. Can we...
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Can we talk about Rhonda getting the shit beaten out of her real quick?
Yeah, because that was the most redeeming part of everything Elimination Chamber. I think somebody I saw in a comment section just put, "Can we just make the 3-hour show a GIF of this?"
It's her getting her. I didn't see when she got her head split open, but I definitely thought it was a Kill Bill montage for a second. But they didn't. The first thing with Becky's like yellow. That was for sure Kill Bill. The whole wiggle the toe, like she had it like.
Like the nice part about this story is, okay, so people clearly don't like the idea that Becky is
the man.
Yeah, well, some people don't like that, but they're stupid. But they don't like the fact that they're doing the time-tested tale of, well, now you're Stone Cold against the Authority. Because people said, we've done that storyline. But you know what? It works. So, then to shoehorn Charlotte, who was supposed to be in this whole consideration to begin with, it's a problem, I understand, when you got too much talent. But there's a legit possibility that could close the show, right?
It's going to. There's no other choice.
Well, but see, I think that actually has a counterbalance as to why Daniel Bryan and Kofi could happen. Because at this point, they put up a post. I think Meltzer said, here's the people who could be in contention with them. Not that they are, but they said, here are the names. Bray Wyatt, Dave Bautista, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, John Cena, and The Undertaker. Also, they just randomly mentioned Kurt Angle has no plans for WrestleMania. Of those people, do you care to see any of them go against Daniel Bryan at 35?
I thought you said those who were supporting the... No, none. Wait, why? What? I thought those were who were in support of Kofi versus Daniel Bryan. Like, they want that versus... No, none of that. Are you kidding me? I thought those were Shane McMahon opponents.
See, yeah, but these names are being brought back rather than someone Bryan has faced. So,
John Cena, maybe.
Kind of. But
I mean, that's always a I mean, what else is he doing? He's not in no intergender tag match with...
Well, they have no extra seasons of WWE Divas that I think John will be on, to my
They're probably just going to run a Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader segment with, like, Kurt Hawkins. And
so to look at that, though, you think to yourself, well, doesn't it just make sense just to put Kofi in there? And I think part of the reason you feel secure in doing that with somebody who doesn't necessarily seem like, I don't know, let's use their word, top tier brass ringers, then you think to yourself, well, why not? Why not have that if you're going to go the 3-woman match to go ahead and close out the show? So
no, it's now. They have to do it's now. It's then, now, and forever. No, now. What's hot now?
Can I also make this note here? Because whenever I see that opening series and they do the then, now, forever, I notice they have Ronda in the forever part. And after the recent reports that we had about a month ago, I'm kind of like, can we put her in the now?
Like, how soon are they going to...
I don't know. We want to keep her in the forever part for too long.
How soon are they? I mean, that's forever money. That's all that is.
Do you think with that mentality, with the then, now, forever, where does too soon fit into all of that whenever they start talking about then, now, too soon? No, forever.
That's right where you put it. It almost has to be like a Fight Club flash of it, like the real quick. It's too soon. Hashtag too soon.
So you tell me what you liked about that segment, other than everybody just getting hurt.
Everybody. I think that's what everybody loves. I was thinking. I was like, I don't think it matters who it is. Just if somebody's getting the shit kicked out of them. I already told you my favorite part. My lady friend was sitting there watching it with me and was like, those are real crutches. And I was like, and I was telling you off air that I'd backtrack and be like, no, they're the lightest crutches possible, which wouldn't sustain any weight, I guess. I don't know, it would be paper mache or whatnot, but when do you agree to that? Do they just agree to it because it's good for the game? And Ronda just has to be fine with getting her head split open with the crutch? Or is it that's just completely impromptu, like when The Rock was obliterating Mankind's head 13 times with a steel chair?
Do you ever get the feeling that Ronda's just in the pay the dues aspect of, like, anything that they can think of, you got to go through a table? Fine.
Who's in the back telling her that this is what it is? No, this is what you have to do to earn your stripes. And she's like, oh, I mean, I've been a big fan and just can't snap out of it.
Well, it's also, think about it like this. It's pretty easy to convince you to do something when you start a new job at the very beginning, but after you've been there for a while, they're like, "Hey, could you go check on that table?" Nope.
It's your table.
Do my bare minimum of my job and get paid. That's all I'm doing. So it makes sense to like go up to Ronda now and just be like, "Hey, do you want to be set on fire?" I mean, I don't, but do I have to? If you like the company.
It's like the Ronda progression of pay-per-views for sure. What happened to her? I mean, every pay-per-view she's just gotten just her ass kicked with some kind of weapon. I forget what happened at the Rumble with her. She fought Sasha. That was a good match, but yeah, she's got the shit kicked out of her a bunch.
Well, you know, that's the saddest element of how much work you have to put to go over. It's just, nope, Ronda, you get back out there and you take your beatings like a noob. And she's like, oh my God.
She's not Ricochet, and that's her whole gimmick. She's real. You know what I mean? Like, she's gonna have to take now for Charlotte to be sitting there taking. That's the middle, and I think that's why she's there, because she can take that and she can fist. I mean, she almost deserves to be the face of the whole Divas, and I think that's why they're trying to put her into this match to have it justify. And if Ronda stays, you don't want to devalue her by having her take the pin so Becky can pin Charlotte.
Here's an interesting thing that I think you guys might want to discuss, which is one of my favorite things, non sequitur, is we watch Match Game with the illustrious NBC crew, a.k.a. the stealing of one Alec Baldwin. And they had Chris Parnell, and I think they had on this one, I don't think this is Michael Che, but a really good panel. And they put it to the audience, and they say, Ronda Rousey really was so rowdy, she gave me. And mind you, they're asking you to fill in the blank. And I immediately said armbar, but I said, is this a savvy audience or is it not? Because you're trying to match with the person with whatever clue you gave. And I go, that might be a little too on the head. My wife said black eye. And I said, it's a pretty good one. She's a fighter. And I think the person who responded said black eye as well. But everybody responded armbar. And when they got to Funches, who was on panel.
The man.
Funches was just like, now I am a professional wrestling fan. But the true real response should have been armbar. And I like that he was very eloquent in both his judging of everyone and his education of everyone. As only Funches can get away with.
He put himself on some weird pedestal that doesn't exist ever, but it did just right then.
Well, they asked him a question. I think Alec Baldwin was like...
So next level.
He just goes, if you were a professional wrestler, and I was like, ooh, do your research, team. What would you do as a character and what would your finish be? And Funches is just kind of like, oh, if I just had a spitball, off the top of my head, and gives a money answer as only Ron Funches can do. So it shows you how much this permeates the culture, which is that answer is both acceptable for the UFC and for the WWE, but more so, you use Ronda's name, trending on Match Game. It's just free publicity for the WWE.
Yeah, I think that was the whole point of that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that what got him to Fox?
Well, probably. I'm pretty sure Ronda helped sweeten the deal, but just the funness of them saying on ABC, hey, go hashtag Ronda Rousey and see what you find. Oh, she's getting crutched to death. Oh, well, that's fun.
Good spot. I mean, the pay-per-view was good, I thought. And, WWE's been getting a lot of flack lately, and I think they're really turning their guns on because AEW is breathing down their neck, which I'm kind of not buying into.
Let me ask you why, because I listened to the podcast with Jericho and Tony, and the whole time, all I could think about was how much you didn't like them. And I guess that bothers me, but I would like you to explain your reasoning as to why you're not feeling it.
It's not that I don't like them. I love all of it. I love the Young Bucks. I've been a big fan. I fucking hung out with Papa Buck, up in Ring of Honor, the whole nine. I was too sweeted and stuff. I just felt the way they handled that pool party was It was probably my least favorite wrestling experience ever. I mean, I could see if I was on vacation. I didn't go to a lot of wrestling events. I live in Vegas. You know, I went down there pretty much solo mission just to check it out. It was freezing cold. It was in the backest corner. I mean, it was almost like, hey, we're having a wrestling event. Fucking hide them in the backest corner possible. It was pretty secluded. It was kind of a cool setup there around the pool. You know, everybody came out, but I started thinking, like, are we going to get, like, a pass for being here, for showing up, for traveling?
Did you have to pay to
go? No. It was free. It was first come, first serve. Not that by any means that it would have sold out or been overbooked or anything, because it was pretty spacious. But I started thinking, are we going to get, like, incentive? Like, we should get, like, first rip on tickets, a password, a special password, a special text message number. And then the minute they said it's going to go out to the public on the stream, I wanted to. I didn't even see Jericho and Kenny Omega, dude. I left when SoCal and Setzer came out. My favorite part was when I got to see Pentagon. I think that might be the first time I've ever seen Pentagon live. I'm a huge Pentagon mark, but I mean, what the fuck? And then it just turns into the StubHub grab. Like, it's just a ticket agency grab where it was just a free-for-all. I didn't go through the waiting process. Michael Peters, who was cool enough, fellow WrestleManiac, who was cool enough to offer to buy my ticket, sat in the waiting room process. And it was he didn't even get to get in, even though he was the first on, diligent about, like, everything, and nothing. It's just like, that's kind of unfair. I don't know if there's, like, technology, IP, whatever, however they do it, but it just felt like this huge money grab. Yeah, they sold out in 4 minutes, but it didn't go out to all the individuals, StubHub and all those other ticket agencies. I heard casinos even bought tickets to overprice them out to people. I mean, that's not very indie. That's not indie at all, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even know if they had a meet and greet. I'm a huge mark for that shit. I left. No, I'm not happy with that. I'll get over it.
Okay.
I want to go, but, like, just the way that was handled, just to see, you know what I mean? Nobody got thrown in the pool. It was just.
Would that have made you feel better if someone had gotten thrown into that pool?
Maybe. It was cold, dude. It was cold. It was cold. I mean, the only enjoyable I could see if somebody came from, like, Chicago or somewhere that got real fucking cold, and this was like, oh, this is bearable. But it was pretty uncomfortable. It was just bad timing, man.
Sure.
Yeah, they could have had it inside. It was just, I don't know. I felt like they, unlike the Kofi Kingston thing to where they're writing the rush properly, I don't think this was well thought out at all. Like, it was just, again, I mean, I want to go to it. Maybe I'll be able to get a lucky ticket or something, but I'm just, it doesn't have, I'm more excited for WWE right now, to tell the truth.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's because we're on the road, so that makes sense. I would say this. I would say you just take a little breathing time. Maybe they built that in, because it's not happening for another 3 months. So you've got time to get over it, and you'll probably get more excited as we get closer to it.
Oh, so it was on purpose? They just totally went fucking full heel section on the heel section just to do, like, reverse psychology on us?
Is there a better move to do?
It's so football. It's such a football play.
There are definitely some people who have been like, oh my god, that's a terrible thing to do. I like it. I actually gave advice. There's a guy who I know who's going to be doing a role for mental health out in Australia. I did an interview with him today, and his goal is to roll straight for 24 hours and create a new Guinness World Record.
Come on.
Yes. So...
Jesus.
Here's the thing. When he tells me that, I go, that's a tough thing to do, my friend. So we discussed for a few minutes, you know, strategies, and he apparently has a system where it scheduled out his day. And I said, well, that's smart. That's good. You built in a couple breaks. That's good. Did you kind of structure things so that maybe you have your hard rolls at the beginning of the day and you have a whole bunch of white belts for the rest of the day? And he's like, no. And I go, you should have. And then it made me think, how do I help this guy? give him the advice he needs? And at that point, I started to tell him, here are some ways to cheat. And I actually taught him the benefits of a ref bump, because he has to have a ref on hand for it. And I was like, do you not know what a ref bump is? He's like, no. I was like, you need to throw your opponent into the ref. And then you have some time to stall and you get some time to breathe and catch your breath. It's essentially a rest hold. And he's like, oh, yeah, I don't think I can do that. And I was like, try it, though. I go, at hour 18, when you're starting to see different horizons and dimensions, I guarantee you'll think about it. So don't mock it till you try it, kid.
I also think this is the next step in the evolution of WWE BJJ Week, of the referee, the John McCarthy's of the world, getting their shine time.
Well, I've purposely told people, I'm like, we haven't done a ref bump yet, because I want to save it for somebody who can benefit from that story.
Non sequitur because of my brain. That's still the best ref bump I've ever seen. It was I don't know who he was facing. It was a Marty Scurll bit in PWG where they threw powder in his eyes, and he thought he was breaking the fingers of the other wrestler. And he broke the fingers of Justin, the referee. And so when all the melee was said and done, he went to pin his opponent, and Justin couldn't count because his fingers were broken.
Genius. It's so good.
So good.
It's so funny.
It's the best. That's the best ref spot. I mean, there's refs that go like Rick Knox gets to do super kicks and shit, but just the whole mindset. Whoever wrote that out, that's like 30 Rock shit right there. It's fucking brilliant. Give him the Emmy right now.
You know what? That's going to be so good one of these days. Somebody's going to do a spot that's so good, we're just going to hand them an Emmy. That's exactly what we're going to do.
Do you think Raw could ever win an Emmy?
I'm surprised they haven't. I have to go double check that. I feel like they should get one for even their social media integration, because I looked at their subscriber base. They're up to 42 million.
Jesus. 10 of them are me, for sure.
For sure. Different accounts. Yeah, I get that. But, yeah, what if that is really just 10 marks who just have that many different accounts? People are like, I don't remember what I subscribed into.
It's such a Pontiac Silverdome number. 42 million. It's like, fuck you. Like 8 some change, maybe.
But 42 million. I mean, comparably, other sports don't have that. So that's super impressive. And that's the type of thing that I think about, especially with the production and the lighting and all that sort of design. I would love to see if they ever do any campaigns for that. I just think they figured, don't waste your money, because a lot of people will throw consideration campaigns to go along with it. I mean, the mother of all of them, the Oscars, comes up this week, and you can't tell me Glenn Close isn't tired of going around being like, yeah, beating Lady Gaga would be nice.
No, she doesn't. I told you, she doesn't want it. She's an anti. She just wants to keep it going, Who?
Nah, dude.
She does not want that at all.
You know, she looks.
That's like the anti-hero, man. That's you keep in you. That's gonna resonate in your heart more than the payoff, because next year, then what are you gonna have? It's like when the Cubs won the World Series. Now what? Now why we even play baseball?
What do you mean now what? Glenn Close has been nominated 6 times, and then she comes in. She's got this role that nobody thinks is going to happen. She's looking at this. She goes, oh, it's finally mine. And then every single person who's a fan of the Lady Gaga goes, well, what about her winning an Oscar? And Glenn Close goes, not now.
Yeah, I think that was a perfect segue into to bring it full circle onto the Kofi Kingston thing, man. I think they're going through the same thing right now.
but Glenn Close is pretty odds-on favorite to win. Is Kofi?
All I can think about is Glenn Close with dreadlocks right now.
Going from a fake Jamaican accent, which I'm sure would be actually quite good.
Mid-Oscar speech.
I don't know if you saw this, but over the weekend they did a Celebrity Jeopardy on SNL, and they had sorry, I want to call her Kristen Wiig, but I forget. Sometimes Kate McKinnon. They had Kate McKinnon doing the Glenn Close.
How dare you?
They serve the same purpose. They're just both spectacularly talented. However, you had Kate McKinnon doing a Glenn Close impression, and the impression wasn't good, per se, in terms of accuracy. Just more so bat-shitted hilariousness of
just like spot on, like
Kate just committing to just how intense Glenn Close can be, and then just being like, "Oh, hey, I'm good. How are you guys doing? Having a good week?"
Oh, you guys didn't like that Glenn Close reference? Well, you guys aren't smarts then. Listen, that's some elevated. That's that real hipster shit. I'm a Glenn Close guy. You're gonna see me at WrestleMania 36 with that shit.
I'll tell you this much: every other category has somebody that I go, yeah, I guess. Are we gonna give Regina King one? I mean, she's earned it since 227.
Do you think? Is The Rock? Do you think a wrestler will ever be nominated for an Academy Award?
There is 100% legitimate talk that Fighting with My Family could be a
no.
There is.
Get the fuck out! No way.
Because they're putting it at the festivals. The numbers that they're pulling in for limited screening is there. And we're at a place now where you can do 10 Best Picture nominees. This year, we just watched Bohemian Rhapsody, and I thought, yeah, it's pretty good. But you know what happened? It got to the point where when we finally watched it on DVD, they go, it's so good, you have to like it. I go, yeah, sure. But if somebody else really wanted it over Rami this year, a.k.a. Mr. Robot, I would have been like, oh, yeah, okay, let's give it to them. Instead, all I'm thinking about the whole time is, when do we get to Live Aid? Are we doing Live Aid?
No, but they played the whole 20 minutes. They reenacted the whole Live Aid.
Then once he got Live Aid, I go, yeah, there's your Oscar. All right, fine. But up until then, it's just a lot of teeth.
In that case, reenact fucking Woodstock 99, and Fred Durst is gonna win a fucking Oscar in a year.
Yeah! So, I think this is where I don't mind it. I say that's fine. Glenn Close, I'm actually excited for it. I'd like to see her.
Let me ask you then: is it because John Cena was brilliant in blockers? Sure. So are people just turning out because it's a wrestling? It's the most because a wrestler was nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah.
Like, are people just buying into like the un-kayfabing of wrestling? You know what I mean? Because it shows The Rock doing a promo and like, oh, okay, Dwayne, you know what I mean? Be yourself. Don't be like me. All that shit. So we're behind. It gets giving you another behind the scenes taste, and so people are just like, I'm in the wrestling world, so this is my movie. And okay. So that's why they're gonna do numbers, as opposed to John Cena being brilliant in fucking cockblockers.
Here's what it comes down to: Oscar movies, you have to have usually a high concept. Okay, but let's say you do a simple concept. No one's gonna fault you for it if you just make it simple and good. And I think that's the strategy that the movie The Green Book is trying to do. And it connects with people. Here's what is in the plus column for Fighting with My Family. I think it's Stephen Merchant who co-wrote this. He's one of the guys who co-wrote The Office with Ricky Gervais. He's like one of the guys who's co-starred on a billion things and has done his time. And they were saying it was tough to make that movie get made, so they had to go the independent route, which usually gives some more creative freedom. So while I haven't seen it, you know, it's kind of weird that they would put it at these festivals and get standing ovations and do that same kind of weird beginning buzz that they like to use for those prestige pictures. But Stephen Merchant also won Emmys for his work on The Office and for extras and all these different things he's done with Ricky Gervais. So he's not a name who's averse to...
Well, look at Paul Feig. How do you say his last name? Paul Feig. Like, that's the same kind of, but he went the route that he's making genius comedy things. He's not going to be nominated for an Oscar anytime soon, but he still has the same clout. But like I said, is this another Kofi Kingston thing to where they're like, okay, you have so many credits. Here's not to say that it's not good.
Sure.
Which again, from what I recall, they had a lot of trouble. Like, they wanted to release it for like almost like a year and a half now. They've been trying to release this thing with all those obnoxious, hey, it's Paige, like up in the doorknob, like The Shining and shit, like all those memes.
I just always like that Paige looks like she's stuck on Elvira's set that they haven't struck down. And it's just her being there, left alone, and she's like, hey guys, what's up?
A Halloween Horror Nights. Yeah. No, but so maybe so they finally got the green light on it, and it was like, oh shit, let's just hold off for another couple months to festival it up. And it's kind of, I mean, you're expecting serious stuff at a festival, especially after what's the stupidest movie ever, The Disaster Artist. You know what I mean? They want something. So this is almost like a throwback to it being like campy, but like a biopic, but like well produced, like WWE does. So I mean, again, it just might be the perfect storm of.
Well, we'll see.
Wrestling's kind of cool right now, no?
It is, but you also have to figure the thing that used to fuel the box office and Oscars was boxing movies. That's how everybody did their physical transformations. Right. You know, now that nobody's doing those physical transformations, why not do one where you can tell stories about telling stories? And every time I see a movie about making a movie, I just think like, well, anything's possible. You know? So
where's the CrossFit movie then?
Don't give CrossFit.
They've already had like the parkour movies and shit.
Listen, I'll tell you this much right now. CrossFit individuals do not deserve to be treated like real humans. The moment that you do, that's when problems happen.
The whole fact that I'm going to say that Rich Fronin would have a issue with that, the fact that I know who the fittest guy, the guy that wins all the CrossFit shit, that's like, I might have a problem.
That's fine. You can just tell him that what he does is fun for him. And to take Kenny Powers' beautiful quote, which is CrossFit, I'm trying to be the best at exercise, which is, I think, the most applicable.
We used to play poker with a guy that was way into racquetball. So to get on his good side so we can exploit him at poker, we looked up the top racquetball player in the world. Oh, that's cool. And we name dropped it. And we were like, yeah, what about JJC? He's like, oh, you know about JJC? He's the most prolific racquetball player.
That's some good psychology stuff. I'm very, very good heel work there, sir.
Yeah, but the whole fact that we knew who like the number 1 and 2 ranked racquetball player was in the world because this dude played a racquetball tournament behind the Stratosphere on a Friday in June in Vegas. It's fucking. There's a lot of time.
Hey man, I'm all about it. That's commitment to your art. All right, so let's do this. Let's circle third right now. What are your final thoughts going into what you have seen this week? Do you have anything outside the realm that you would like to bring up as we bring to a close?
2 real quick things. I thought like I said, with all that stuff with AEW, like whatever's going on Raw with all those call-ups with just like Team PWG getting called up all of a sudden with Ricochet, Gargano, Ciampa, and Aleister Black, like I think they're starting to like kind of really listen and start trying to freshen things up, which is fun. And on that note, DX with China is getting inducted. Like, why aren't people buzzing about that China's about to get inducted to the Hall of Fame? Isn't that what everybody wanted?
Yeah, it does reek a little bit of when they said every version of it is inducted. And I started to think about it, and I said, is there really any other way this could go? And then I just kind of said, I don't care. China's in, so that's fine.
Was that just to put Rick Rude in? Or, I mean, what other version is there? The one with fucking Hornswoggle?
Just the fact that when you see 6 people for a faction all getting in at once, you just think, when is this going to end? Like, is 6 the limit? Like, I don't know, man. I know that there are more stringent rules for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame when they go, whoa, 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 which band member? No, not that drummer. Try again.
The whole headline should just read, yeah, we're putting X-Pac in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everybody else, I get the New Age Outlaws. I mean, even with Billy Gunn, it'd have but still, the Outlaws were the Outlaws. But the whole fact that, I was listening to a podcast, is Vince getting sentimental?
Dude, okay, I'm so tired of reading articles that start with Vince cried. Because for years, you just figured he was a robot who didn't live off that sort of thing. But you give him a painting of Shane, cry. Show him a photo of Andre the Giant, cry. Eddie Guerrero wins, cry. And
it's just that Wolverine meme where he's looking at the picture. Well, that's good then. That's good for us then, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. And listen, am I a little sad that they didn't pull the trigger on the NXT up call-ups right after Super Bowl? That probably would have made more sense because that was the exposure they just got from it. But maybe the idea was being like, no, let it simmer. Let's wait 3 weeks after the Super Bowl is all good and done to say, very awkwardly, here they come. Like whenever. I don't know when, but maybe tonight? I don't know. Ricochet, get out of here.
there was a lot of stuff going on this weekend. First of all, the All-Star weekend. I think Cain Velasquez fought.
No, he didn't.
Who fought on UFC?
No, I mean he did, but he did not fight.
Oh, thank you. You just made me feel dumb, like I didn't know what I was talking
He made
about.
it to the fight. His knee buckled. He took a few punches, and then it was over. There was one meme, and I've never done this before, but there was one meme that quoted the South Park. Well, Cain Velasquez is back, and he's gone. And I said, I actually crossed it out when I reposted it on our page, and I just said, and he's injured again. That's the way you're supposed to do that.
It's just Homer Simpson coming out of a bush back into it with
it really was.
Cain Velasquez.
It all happened in 30 seconds, and it was the first time that the UFC has been with a main card on ESPN, so they were definitely trying to pimp the shit out of that. And if you've watched the beginnings of the UFC on Fox, which was back in 2011, Cain Velasquez was involved in that, and that fight lasted a minute as well. Except that was the only fight they put on the card. They just put one fight on the card, and they were like, hey guys, this is the premiere of the UFC on Fox. That means we're not putting any other fights except for this championship fight that you won't get anywhere else. Oh god, it's done. Shit, how do we feel? Oh, fuck.
It would have made more sense for them to call up Cain Velasquez on Monday than the guys from NXT at that point.
Cain would have definitely come. And right now, Daniel Cormier is being called out by guys that look very nasty, and I'm pretty sure he's looking around and being like, so that WWE contract, Vince, how's that looking? Because Francis Ngannou, more like Francis no.
No, thank you. No, Francis off to Hartford, Connecticut.
Ngannou is French for no thank you. Thank you. That's the joke I'm going to use.
Oh, no.
Anyway, that's good. I mean, I don't have much more to add than that. I think that's a good recap. Obviously, there's a couple things coming up very soon, so we'll be able to give that to you guys and come back. However, Mike, will you give AEW more of a chance soon?
I'm going to.
Okay.
We're going to have to. It's for everybody.
It's for everybody.
Yeah, that's what they say. Wasn't that the first guy that was out there, the overly flamboyant? Every wrestling promotion has to have an overly flamboyant guy now. Which I'm not mad at, but still, it's just like there's these certain staples that
it would have to be pretty great if Vince is sitting backstage and goes, more flamboyant.
Yeah, that's what the Velveteen Dream is. Why don't they call it Velveteen Dream? Let me also that real quickly. I also think these guys do pre-tapes. They sit there and tape a month out. So they're sitting there for a month. Why don't they just fucking use them on the road? I want to see that. You know what I mean? So I think that's actually what they're doing. So kudos to them. And no, fuck AEW right now that I think about it.
We'll give you 2 months to go ahead and we'll see where we last. But
I want to go to the thing. They're not going to let me go. I went down there, Raph.
You know what you should do? Show up, go to the door, jam it, and start yelling California and see what happens for you. Because they might let you in. They might be like, oh, you know what? We've seen this movie too. It's heartbreaking. Divorce is terrible. Come on in, kid.
That's the time when I was wearing that pink mesh hat.
Mm-hmm.
Some stupid hat, and they were doing a meet and greet, and I was trying to wave at the Young Bucks, but I was caught in Jay Lethal's view, and I just kept waving, and he looked up to me. He looked up at me, not up to me. He looked up at me, and he goes, I go, hi, Jay Lethal. He goes, hey buddy, you all right? And I turned to my friends. I go, does Jay Lethal think I'm retarded right now? He goes, yep. 100%. Hi, Jay Lethal. California.
Well, kids, there's no better way to end this week's show. So I want to say thank you guys for listening. I appreciate your time. On behalf of all of us here, thank you for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.
Too sweet, me. Hey, no, I can say retarded still, man. That's not a thing. No. I was born in 78, man. That's not a thing. I was going to say.
It's not how that works.
Start singing, but now I shouldn't have to hashtag me 3 too sweet nothing now. I can still say.
It's like when grandma comes over and is just like, it was a different time. In my time, we said things like the N-word. What's the deal with that?
We asked you what kind of meat you wanted, Grandma.
Oh, Grandma doesn't know where she is. End show.